Welcome to another conversation on the politics of our country from where I sit, from my perspective. But before I get into that, let me take a few minutes to just appreciate the close to 7,000 people who have subscribed on our channel, who give us feedback, who encourage us, the number of people I meet in the streets who tell me they listen to what we discuss here, who give me their feedback, who encourage us to keep doing what we're doing. Thank you so much. And if you're one of those people who think we're adding value to your life and you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. Let us know what you're thinking. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about. Let us know where you don't agree with us, because the advantage of democracy is that we don't always have to agree. This weekend is the 4th anniversary since our second president passed away, Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. And I remember during his week, what normal circumstances would be Mashakaya, when his body lay in state in parliament, and literally hundreds of thousands of people, Kenyans, lined up, or the tens of thousands, but quite a number of people lined up to pay their last respects to the second president. Now, the irony of it all was that when Moi was leaving office, Kenyans shouted at him, threw mud at him. I've always given this story of a friend of mine who was part of his security detail, and how horrendous the experience really was the day Moi was handing over power to Mwai Kibaki. Right? But by the time he was passing away, he was this person we were all fighting to see, to pass our respects to. We had nice words to talk about him, because in retrospect, many years down the road, you look back and you're like, you know what? He was just a human being who did the best of what he knew. He did a lot of things we don't agree with, but he kept our country going. Mwai Kibaki. When you listen to people talk about Mwai Kibaki today, you wouldn't believe he's the same person who in 2007 barely made it back into office. You wouldn't believe. In fact, when you listen to some people, when I listen to a lot of politicians, including some who built their careers on resisting Mwai Kibaki, and you listen to them explain the benefits of the Kibaki government, you're like, wow, are we talking about the same person? These are the same people who stood up and made Mwai Kibaki's life very, very difficult. When especially I listen to ODM give examples of what they think they would see, the legacies that were set up by Kibaki, you're like, we're not talking about the same people. This is a party that literally made Kibaki's work life and live in hell when he was a president. Uhuru Kenyatta, 1.5 years since he left office. If you listen to people talk about him, you would think he was a saint, right? 1.5 years ago, there were memes everywhere of how Uhuru must go. In fact, when you listen to people, you think Uhuru lost an election. He did not lose an election, he just left office. The point I'm trying to make is, time is an interesting thing. Kikuyu, we have a saying in an era where that when the cow dies is when you start talking about how much milk it had. And this is important information to have, especially when you're in public office. Today when I walk around Nyeri, I'm told, from the time you left office, things are thick. 1.5 years later, after we had what was quite a difficult election where we lost for whatever reason. But 1.5 years later, people are like, wow, maybe we made a mistake here, we should have done this different. This is a lesson for anybody in office. Do the best you can when you have an opportunity to do it, because time will judge, and usually if you give it your best shot, time will be kind. I say this as I think about what is happening with President Ruto at this moment in time and how hard he is fighting. I remember reading Wahome Thuku's post a couple of weeks ago, and he was asking, is it that we're the ones who cannot see what William Ruto is seeing? He is so convicted with what he is saying. He's so sure that he has a plan. But everybody else seems not to believe him. I want to believe that William Ruto has a plan. you know. And I can only imagine his frustration. William Ruto got into office. 2 of his legacy projects, housing and healthcare, have been stopped by court. You try to imagine what that means. You've already been in office for nearly 2 years. The legacy project that you know needs time to actually be executed and implemented, what you want to leave behind, has been stopped by court. Why wouldn't you get frustrated? This is what you sold to Kenyans. This is why Kenyans voted for you. You go to implement it and the courts tell you you cannot. That must be very, very frustrating. My encouragement to the president and the people in his team that you have to keep going on. I'm a firm believer that nobody becomes president to fail. You cannot spend your money, your time, you can't go through the kind of anguish and challenge that you actually need to go through to become president. I think it's part of the territory for you to go through a very difficult time. When you look back into the history of this country, everybody who's been president has gone through a very difficult time that humbled him and made him realize that you need God, you need others to succeed. You can't go through that to go seeking to fail. So anybody who runs for president wants to succeed. And history tells us that it doesn't matter how you do. People will speak about you based on your successes after you're gone. So for President Ruto, please keep at what you're doing. Keep at it. Just hammer at it, hammer at it, hammer at it. I suspect you're going to get a breakthrough at some point. But whatever happens, if you give it your best shot, it will be remembered kindly. My last word is to the brigade that got into office with President Ruto and Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. The advantage of having a big number of members of parliament and politicians elected on your party, the reason why Ruto worked so hard to get as many people as possible elected is because he expects you to stand up for him, to explain to Kenyans what his policies are, to explain to Kenyans when things are tough, to stand up as his first line of defense when things don't look like they're working. And on this one, Kenya Kwanza, the UDA brigade, you have let your president down. When I saw the president in Meru with the deputy president explaining and just pushing back against a crowd that you could tell were not really agreeing with him, I asked myself, at what point did Ruto become his first line of defense? Where are all his members of parliament? Where are all his MCAs? Where are all his governors and senators and women reps? Why aren't you out there doing that for him? Of course it is difficult. For those of us who are in the last administration, we know how difficult it is to defend a government. It doesn't matter what a government does, there will always be somebody poking holes at it. And in normal circumstances, out of every 10 things a government will attempt, they'll most probably fail in 7, but the 3 that they will succeed in will be worth the work. You get out there, get information as a member of this government, and go out, go on television, go online, go to the ground, defend your president and your deputy president, defend your government. Part of the reason there's so much hostility against this government, part of the reason there's so many people fighting this government, part of the reason people don't like this government and don't accept the policies of this government is because those people who are elected on this government, except the president and the deputy president primarily, and maybe the majority leader and 1 or 2 other people, are not defending it. They are not explaining it. They are not standing with it publicly. They have walked away from it and they have taken a wait and see attitude, hoping that things will get better and they will ride again on the wave. I assure you, Kenyans are very unforgiving, and people who run government, president and deputy president, will be very unforgiving. You don't imagine that you're going to stand on the sides, watch them fight, get themselves back on the foot, get the government popular by 2027, and then you imagine you're going to run on their party again. They will throw you under the bus, I assure you. So my advice to those people who are elected on Kenya Kwanza, UDA or any other affiliate party, get out there, do the heavy lifting for your president and your deputy president, explain to us what is going on. I said that last week, I decided I needed to emphasize it again this week. Go out there and fight for your president, fight for your presidency, fight for your government. Come and explain to us. Let us have a hard conversation. It's not going to make you popular. But popularity is not what it is about. You need to come and tell me why I need to pay housing levy. You need to tell me why I should add more money for the social health Insurance Fund. You need to come and tell me why the dollar is going up. Come and tell me locally. I don't have to wait for the president to come and tell me, because by the time he's doing that, I've already given up. You tell me, as my MCA, as my member of parliament, as my women rep, as my senator, as my governor, come and tell me. So by the time the president is coming to explain, at least I have something to argue with. That's the advice I have today. Goes out to the UDA, Kenya Kwanza affiliate parties. Please fight for your president. For the president, history will judge you well if you give this your best shot. That's all that counts. If we are celebrating Moi today, despite everything we used to say about him, if today we're remembering Mwai Kibaki, despite the fact that 2 years after he got elected, we wanted to throw him out in a referendum, if we are still, if right now, people are talking nice things about Uhuru, after what we suffered, those of us who stood with him in the last election, then you give this your best shot, William Ruto, I assure you people will be talking good things about you once you're done. God bless you. God bless Kenya. Wish you all the best in the week to come. As always, we're in Rware. Good mandazi, good chai, good accommodation, good conference facilities, and good nyama choma and pilau. Please come. Allow us to serve you the next time you're in Nyeri. Thank you very much. God bless you.